Frank Zeccola with CommPRO.biz here with Mark Snyder, CMO of K-Mart. And what my readers are other CMOs and marketers and PR people. What is your biggest tip for marketers who want to capitalize on back to school?
Biggest tip for marketers that want to capitalize on back to school, you better be in touch with your customer, right? Times are tough out there. You got to know that gas prices are up, unemployment is still high. So what is it that you can really do to help manage and bring a really sharp point on a value proposition for your product for this customer? I mean, you've got to really be about providing these solutions, right? So, you know, being in the retail business, I feel like we're really well prepared for this back to school season. But the fact of the matter is, we really don't know how the customer is going to react yet. It's still very, very soon. But you've got to be well prepared. You've got to understand what it is that she's facing in her day-to-day, and then you've got to be ready to provide solutions that really help her out. And you know, in the context of K-Mart, layaway is one of the great solutions that we have. It's going to make it easier for mom to actually manage her budget and get the things that her kids need for back to school. So that's an example of a solution-oriented approach to the economic conditions that we live in today, and trying to respond to what our customers need in order to be able to effectively manage their lives and get what they need for their families.
Great. Okay. Is K-Mart planning on doing anything with Google Plus?
Planning on doing anything with Google Plus? I can tell you that it's on the list, right? Okay. So we're constantly looking at the new technology and the emerging ways of interacting and connecting with customers. But it's like everything else. I mean, our customers are trying to balance their investments, and just in terms of managing the household and so forth. Retailers are having to balance their investments as well, right? You've really got to make sure that whatever it is that you've chosen to put your time and energy and resources, both financial and human, against, is something that for the long run is going to resonate with the customer segmentation and the marketing approach that you're taking. And the learning that you will get out of it many times will exceed the actual financial return on investment. And that's what we're finding about a lot of the dynamics of the social media and the online digital activities that we're doing.
Okay, great. What's K-Mart's biggest area of growth on the horizon?
Biggest area of growth on the horizon, I'd have to say, is the Latino customer segment. I mean, when you look at the data that's coming out of the census figures and the amazing growth, I mean, 40% of the growth now in the Hispanic market is coming from actual birth. It's not birth rate. It's not coming from immigration. I mean, that's a tremendous influence. And while it's a bit overwhelming to think about today, what I'm trying to do is think about the future and what that means, and starting to really at a granular level and an emotional level understand this customer in a way that I think, I'm convinced, the Latina segment is going to help me bring K-Mart to a different style sensibility and a different level of engagement than we've had in the past. So I think the Latino market is the biggest area of growth for us, and we're spending a lot of time trying to understand this customer, assort for this customer, and appeal to this customer.
Okay, great. Just a few more questions. How should marketers be using social media channels to reach consumers?
Wow, you know, that's another great question, because social media is, you know, we're all trying to understand it. We're all trying to understand what's the best way to go about it. I mean, one of the things that K-Mart has done in social media, which I think has worked really well, is the advent of shoppable video. So there was a site that we created called KMartDesign.com, and it really sort of chronicled in a documentary style what our designers in both our home and our apparel categories do. So we follow them around the world, videotaping them in Paris, videotaping them in Istanbul as they were doing trend diving and trying to understand color strategies and developing trends, because they're always working 18 months out. They're already working on spring 2013. So to take those videos and just let people sort of see how that process works is one thing. To actually now be able to take those videos and make them shoppable, meaning that while you're watching the video, if you see a product that's been designed by one of those designers, you can cursor over it, and it will take you immediately to Kmart.com to learn more about that product, how much it costs, and actually be able to purchase it. I think that's what's really going to be critical, because again, it's about the level of investment that you're willing to put into things, what kind of learning you want to get, and what's the best way, most meaningful way to make the connection between social and commerce. And that's a great example of what K-Mart's doing to try and understand that.
Okay, great. Just one last question. One final tip for marketers. How do you execute a killer press junket in this economy?
How do you execute a killer press junket in this economy? Get Lady Gaga to open for you.
Okay, short of that.
You better have a really, really good, compelling story to tell, right? You got to have a compelling story to sell, because it's just the press is like every other category out there, right? We've all got so many competing demands and so forth, but I think you got to have a compelling story to tell, whether it's a product story, a technology story, whatever it is. But when the day is done, to be able to connect that up to what's going on in the world, right? So, the press junket I've been doing around back to school, everybody's, asking me about rising raw material costs and, how that's going to influence pricing in the stores, and, how do we balance that out in terms of rationalized pricing strategy, and what's our customer reaction going to be, that kind of stuff. You have to understand all of that stuff and really anticipate, what it is that's going to be of the most value for the press that you're asking to attend your press junket, and weave that into a compelling story that's relevant to the kind of things that their readers want to hear about.
Great, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Mark Snyder with K-Mart CMO.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All right.